Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Handforged. If you've listened before, welcome back. Appreciate the support. If you've never listened before, my name is Frank LeBlanc. I am the host of the Handforged podcast. 25 years trade guy. Got into this when I was 15 years old. I was given the ultimatum of getting locked up or getting a job. I landed in a furniture company. Tradesman took me under his wing, introduced me to the trades, and been at it ever since. I've owned and operated a couple of pretty successful companies in the trades. Currently, I am the owner and operator at Seacoast Cabinet in Raleigh, Mass. We're a kitchen and bath design company. I'm also board chair for a nonprofit and the host here. The idea of the podcast is really just to kind of bring some pride back into the trades, try and bring some trades people in, and hopefully help some of the trades businesses grow. So I like to bring guests in that can kind of speak intelligently about certain aspects of the trades or certain aspects of small business, whether it's technology based or it's in the trades, swinging a hammer or marketing or advertising, whatever it is. I just try to bring people in that can kind of help some of the small businesses grow, specifically in the trades. Found a purpose when I was young to kind of give back to this. I owe a debt to the trades. I try and repay it every single day. And this podcast is kind of me pursuing that purpose. So with that said, today we got Mr. Robbie Trim in the house.
That's right, brother.
Robbie is with Stalgrid Technologies. They do a lot of smart home stuff, which I don't know anything about. I try not to do any kind of research on guests anymore because I want to ask you questions like I know nothing.
Sure.
Not that me trying to understand what you do would help in any aspect, but
it just makes for better talk, more organic and whatnot.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and I'm just like an interested person. Like I'm curious. I like to know about certain things. So
I'm the same way, man.
Yeah, man.
I like to ask questions. So,
so why don't you introduce yourself to everybody?
Sure. Yeah. So as you said, Rob Trim or Robbie for today.
I changed it to Robbie. Whatever.
Yeah, but I'm a lifelong native of West Newbury. A young buck in the game. I'm only 23 years old, so definitely much younger on the business owner side of things. Takes a lot of getting used to. But anyway, lifelong native West Newbury. Just graduated from the University of Vermont back in May. Been co-managing this business with one of my partners for the past 4 years. Met him up at school, freshman year of college. Realized we had a super complementary skill set. He's the technical guy. He, loves spending time in the house, running wires, installing speakers, lights, all that cool stuff. Whereas I'm more people-oriented, more business-oriented. So just realized we had a pretty complementary skill set. Put our heads together and have trying to kick ass since. The past 4 years is not super active hands-on involvement with the business. It was more so a massive learning curve with me. Whereas Nils, my partner, he's the master of the tech. He's been doing this his whole life. It's all he knows. So the past 4 years have been a massive learning curve for me, both from a business perspective and in terms of the technology that we're dealing with.
That technology is like ever changing, right? Like there's always new stuff.
Oh my God, it's crazy. 1 year something comes out, and in a couple of years it's practically obsolete. Technology moves so damn fast, so fast.
So your partner, he's the same age as you?
Yep. Yeah, he's 23 as well.
How the hell did he get into like doing the tech stuff? You said he's been doing his whole life?
Yeah, his whole life, literally. He started as an apprentice for a big home technology contracting firm out of Boston called System 7. He started when he was 12 or 13, I believe.
Jesus.
So he was getting in the game pretty young. But starting as an apprentice at a very young age, did that for about 4 or 5 years, I believe. Once he felt like he had enough skills under his belt, he wanted to work for himself. So as soon as he felt like he was ready, just spun off, started doing some independent contracting. And he's from Marblehead, so it's a pretty advantageous location to start a business like this.
Yeah.
So spun off after working for them for 4 or 5 years, got some really good traction with some new construction projects down in Marblehead. And word of mouth just kind of took off since. And then flash forward 3 or 4 years, we meet freshman year of college, and because we were up there for 4 years, we picked up some clients in Vermont. Nothing too crazy because we're students at the same time too.
Right.
So couldn't go all out balls to the wall with the business. Had to manage being both a full-time student and trying to run the business.
Trying to work, yeah.
So he was getting most of the work himself up there, and like I said, it was big learning curve for me, understanding both the field that we're involved in and the business side of things too. As you know, being an entrepreneur, you just kind of figure it out on your own.
Yeah. There's no playbook.
Yeah, there's no one holding your hand. There's no if this, then you do that. It's not black and white at all. You just got to figure it the fuck out.
Yeah.
And if you can't, then you're not going to survive.
Truth.
So yeah, he got involved very young. We met at college, and then for the past 4 years, just massive learning curve. And now that I was trying to set up shop in Mass full time, just hitting the ground running.
So what is your position with the business? Like, what is your day in, day out?
Yeah, so I'm essentially just the promoter, sales / business development. So Nils is still up in Vermont. He's wrapping up some jobs with some clients up there. So I'm just doing all the promoting down in Mass to get us ready for when he comes back down, which will be in about April or May.
Makes sense.
So my day-to-day is literally just meeting with people, and then meeting with more people. So, breakfast, lunch, early dinner, every single time slot of my day is just filled with meeting people.
Are you trying to stay exclusively in Mass, or are you like New Hampshire still a thing?
Yeah, I would say Southern New Hampshire. Trying to get that market as well. Obviously, Southern New Hampshire, a lot of big secondary homes there.
Yeah.
So we're trying to penetrate that market a bit too.
We just joined the New Hampshire Home Builders.
Yeah.
The association.
Yeah.
So I have outside sales rep Stephanie, and I'm looking to open another store in New Hampshire this year. So we have her kind of starting to try and just build a foundation in New Hampshire, some new clients, contacts, that type of stuff. Kind of hit the ground running once we open the store.
Are you in an HBA down in Mass too?
No.
Because everybody's been telling me to join one, like get involved in a subcommittee or something.
Right.
It's just another way to get your name out there.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. There's like so many avenues you can take.
Yeah.
Like my buddy, I was just at the gym. My buddy Jay, he owns a moving company. He does all the deliveries for Seacoast Cabinet.
Yeah.
And he was telling me about some new like Southern New Hampshire contractors group he's part of. He's like, "Oh, you should join that." I'm like, "Dude, there's so many groups. Like, I can only join so many damn groups."
I know, dude. I know.
What I like about the New Hampshire Home Builders, though, is that it's huge, right? There's a ton of members.
Yeah.
Every month they have like a beers with builders or bagels with builders. And it's just like an event that they have either in the morning or in the evening. And they'll have like say a construction company, a design build company has like a new showroom or something. Like they invite like 50, 60 people to the new showroom and they just have like a networking event.
I like that.
And it's pretty cool, man. Everybody's like there to do the same thing, like network, meet people, kind of show their face, all that type of stuff. And then they are also very politically charged. So they're like working with the New Hampshire quite a bit, like the politics in New Hampshire to like help not change code, but like, push code in a certain way and to kind of push for certain changes for the trades because like, we need houses. We need people building. So like they're up there and because the numbers are so big, because there's so many members, they have like a ton of like pull.
Totally.
So it's been cool to kind of see that. And then they just had their like annual home show this weekend up in Manchester. I went up on Saturday. And there's like, I don't know, there had to have been probably 200 maybe vendors.
Pretty solid.
Gorgeous place. A couple of different areas where you can set up as vendors. They had one whole area that was like New Hampshire made stuff, where it was like
cool.
soaps and foods and that type of stuff. And then they had like another 2 areas that was just contractors and companies and like lumber yards and a whole bunch of different stuff.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
it was cool. Like we're gonna start setting up at some of that stuff.
Totally.
I want to start doing some more home shows, like at least like 3 or 4 a year. So we've been going to a few just so I can kind of scope it out. Like if I do it, I'm gonna do it right. I want to do like a nice display, setup, that type of stuff.
It's funny you say that because I've been doing that same thing, just trying to go to the shows, do a little bit of prospecting, see who's showing up to them, how they're presenting themselves.
Right.
Just be all ears at those events. You see what people are looking for, what they care about.
Yep.
All that. So yeah, I'd love to be a vendor at one of them. In the near future.
It's kind of what I was thinking as we were chatting was like those types of shows for you would be awesome because like out of the I don't know, 3 or 4 home shows that I've been to over the past 6 months or so, nobody's doing that stuff. You know what I mean? And
Totally.
like, there's a lot of like solar companies. There's a lot of windows and siding companies.
Sure.
Like, you know, those places are almost like a dime a dozen at these. So I always kind of go through and look at like, I want to see who's there for kitchen and bath design,
Yep.
obviously.
Yeah.
Then there tends not to be a ton of those either. But like, I look at all the different stuff, you know what I mean? Like the companies
Totally.
that are doing different things. And
Yeah.
like, I feel like your company would actually like fit that
Yeah,
pretty well.
Totally, especially considering we do so much and have a lot of niche products.
Right.
Might fit in nicely because no one else at those events is going to be doing that. So
Right.
it could be a good fit. It's a good point.
Yeah. Next time we have one of those events, I'll let you know.
Definitely,
Well,
dude.
come
Yeah.
with us. We just joined the New Hampshire Home Builders, so like we're members now.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure I can invite you as like a guest or something.
Yeah, that'd be
so,
awesome. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Totally.
So why don't you explain to me what the hell you guys do?
Sure thing. So we try to advertise ourselves as a true one-stop shop home technology provider. So the way our industry is currently set up is you usually have an audio video guy. He'll do a couple other services, like, you know, he might do your network, you like set up Wi-Fi, he might do motorized shades, maybe he doesn't, or you might have a guy, like a communications guy who does network, maybe he does some audio video stuff. You know, it's either an AV or communications guy, and then they have these one-off services that they offer. So on a trade partnership side of thing, that's where we try to create value, is through being a one-stop shop. You know, being one point of contact for a GC or an architect that they can go to and say, oh, our client's looking for this. Oh, I can go to Rob at Stalgrid. Oh, they're looking for something else. Rob at Stalgrid does this too. So being as comprehensive as we possibly can, so we can, you know, just streamline communications for general contractors, architects, interior designers, be their one-stop shop for anything their clients are looking for. But just to sum up those things, the majority of our work, it falls in so audio video stuff, like home theaters, custom speakers, like architectural speakers in the wall and the ceiling. Do a bunch of custom lighting, whether that's recessed lighting, under cabinet lighting, LED strips in your shower, custom sconces, custom fixtures, any of that. Do a bunch of motorized shading as well, you know, like the shades that go up and down on their own when you click a button.
No, I don't know anything about that, bro. I still pull a string. So
Hey, they're expensive right now, but people still love them.
Yeah, I bet.
People still love them, and it's pretty cool just being able to touch something, and your guests are like, "Whoa, that's
Yeah,
pretty
it's
cool. It's pretty
badass.
cool. It's
Yeah.
classy. It's convenient. Whatever value you want to put to it."
and I'm sure there's like an app you can probably like shut them on your phone or
Yep.
something crazy too.
Exactly. I'll get to that at the end. And then we also do network, of course, so setting up people's Wi-Fi. If we're doing all this other stuff, we want the Wi-Fi infrastructure to be, you know, what's best for the system. Do a bunch of security, so like access control, like those the Ring doorbells. We'll do higher end versions of that. Just normal security cameras, access control, like smart locks. And then tie it all together with automations and controls. And this is where everything gets tied together nicely, is we integrate everything into one app that the client can then control from their phone, a on-wall mounted tablet, a little custom keypad, whatever user interface they want to have. So every single control of the home can be integrated into that one interface. Because again,
That's awesome.
Yeah, because again, the standard for that nowadays is, you know, you have an app for Ring to check your doorbell. You have another app for security cameras around the house. You have another app to control your lighting. Another app to control Sonos or whatever, maybe like your speakers. So it's just kind of all over the place, not well integrated. So we just streamline everything by integrating into one app from one of our suppliers. You know, it's just easy, just more intuitive. It makes more sense to have all of the controls for your home in a centralized platform. So that's how everything gets tied together pretty nicely.
That is crazy. And then you also offer the service after, which I assume
Yes.
is like important,
Yeah,
right? Because like,
it's incredibly important.
yeah, because, well, and I would like, what about training? Like, I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of people are like, oh, that's cool. Like, I want that. Or like, I want the speakers. I want the
Yeah.
shades that are going to shut themselves. Like, I want all
Totally.
these things.
Yep,
But, you know, some of these people can't type up an email. So like,
totally.
there's got to be like
But-
a training.
Oh, absolutely, dude. We spend a lot of time with the client. Like if we do a full wire on their home, Nils, my partner, he's going to spend quite a bit of time with them, showing the ins and out. You know, even put together like a little guide for them just to show them how to use everything. But like with anything, learning anything new, there's a learning curve to it. You're not going to become a master with the app in a day or two. It takes a couple of weeks, but we are there to train you and help you in any way that we can. And once they learn it, it's pretty intuitive after that. It's pretty easy to get the hang of.
Yeah.
But we make that learning curve as easy as we possibly can for our clients. And then, of course, the service aspect of things too. If your integrator is not offering you any extent of a service contract, they're pretty much setting your system up to fail. Because technology, it cannot be maintained on its own. It needs to be maintained and serviced over time. Connection points fail. Technology becomes obsolete. It just needs to be serviced.
Yeah.
We offer like a free service contract, and then certain tiers above that they can pay for. So
Interesting.
yeah.
That's crazy. You know what's funny is that I never really thought of it, but my buddy got a place down in Miami,
Mm-hmm.
and a nice place, and he has tablets on all the walls in the house.
Yeah.
And like I go down there and I'll stay with him for a couple of days, and like he always sets me in this one of the rooms that's like in the front of the house. And I remember the first time I went down there, I was like, fuck do I turn the lights on? There's no light switches anywhere. I had to text him. I'm like, bro, maybe I'm an idiot, but how the fuck do I turn the lights on?
So he doesn't have like any like key switches or
not
anything?
that I could find. So
just tablets?
I just had the tablet
Oh,
thing
wow.
and had to like turn the lights on with the tablet.
Yeah.
I think there was maybe like in the bathroom or something, there was like light switches, but even those were fucking weird.
Yeah.
It was way out of
Yeah.
my league.
Yeah,
man.
I think the tablets are good for like a centralized spot in the house where you want to control multiple things, like in your kitchen or living room.
Yeah.
It's good to have a tablet there. Whereas bedrooms, it's better to just have a normal keypad or something.
Right.
Because the tablets, like you said, can overconvolute things, especially
Yeah.
for your guests when they have no idea what the hell they're looking at.
Yeah, when they're stupid, like me. Stupid blue collar guy. Yeah, I think his TVs and shit were all hooked up on it too.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's crazy, man.
Same thing. Yeah, we do the same exact thing.
So, and then that stuff must have to be like updated regularly.
Depends. Most things have a lifespan of about 10 to 12 years, we like to call it. Can't generalize that to every single product we offer, but typically most of the things will last 10 to 12 years.
Oh, sure.
Like security cameras, they'll last 20 to 30 years.
Right.
TVs, same thing, 10 to 15. All depends what you're talking about. But most things have a pretty decent lifespan. So
How do you guys do your pricing? Is it just like per job, or do you have like certain packages like, TV and audio?
Yeah,
is this price?
yeah, it's all per job on a need basis of whatever the client is looking for. So we have a lot of preliminary design meetings with the client just to understand what it is they're looking for, and to also put some ideas into their head if they're open to that. So just to walk you through the process, we'll first just understand what they're currently looking for and whether they're open to newer or other options as well. And then based on that, we'll sit down with them with the plans, and then just do design from there. If they're looking for new ideas, we'll toss some ideas in their head. But if they're not, we'll just, make the plans based on whatever they're looking for. And then most things are just by the job, just a fixed price. But for smaller things, we just do an hourly and then
Materials.
Yeah, exactly. Time and material.
What's like the coolest new thing out there right now?
There's a lot of really cool AI control systems.
Fucking of course, AI comes
I know.
up. John's got a Woody
Yeah.
over here.
Yeah. So there's this operating system called Josh AI, and you can essentially talk to your home and control every aspect of it just by talking to, Amazon Alexa.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you can do that, but for your full home, you could be like, hey, whatever your home is called, like lights on, turn the volume up for the music in this room, lower the lights that much, whatever it might be. Or if you have like a tablet, be like, hey, pull up the security cameras, whatever it might be.
No shit.
Also, automations are pretty huge too. I'd say that's the more feasible and viable thing right now is like lighting automation. So putting things on a personalized routine, like making contingent with your schedule. So like, let's say you have your alarm set for 6 a.m. every morning. You can have the lights in your room like slowly rise to like mimic a sunrise. Because when you wake up in the morning, go in the bathroom, flip on the light, it's like, holy shit, like feel like a vampire touching light.
I piss in the dark in the morning because that shit drives me out of my mind.
Exactly.
I can't do that.
So that's the exact problem we're solving. And there's actually quite a bit of science backing it too with circadian rhythms and everything.
Interesting.
That it's unhealthy to have that much light exposure early in the morning. And that's another
So you
thing.
got to clean off the toilets.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so like I said, there's a lot of science backing these things too, with the circadian rhythm and whatnot. But also, there's more practical and cost and energy savings things, like you can have light sensors that detect the amount of natural light outside, and then based on what's going on outside, it will raise the lights or lower them if it's bright or dark outside. So, like, let's say it's a very cloudy day, there's not going to be a lot of natural light in there, so all the lights in your house will just automatically raise to like mimic a certain brightness set to that point of the day that's like optimally healthy for you,
That's fucking awesome.
which is pretty interesting. Or vice versa, on a sunny day, instead of wasting energy and wasting money, if you turn the lights on, it'll dim the lights a bit and utilize a bit more of the natural light. Or if it's way too bright, then your shades can automatically lower and do some light filtering. So things like that.
And so is there like sensors in the house?
Yeah, yeah. So to answer your question, like what's the newest biggest thing, like that's something that's been emerging as well, is like the light sensors and whatnot. I'm not sure if any of our vendors do it, but I know that's something that's been on the up and coming just based on what I've been seeing with other integrators. So
That's cool.
yeah, it's really cool stuff.
That stuff, dude, the technology is so fascinating to me, man.
I
And it's
know.
like, it changes so fast, and there's all this cool stuff that's
Yeah.
always coming out. And
Yeah,
like,
it is so hard to understand too.
I bet.
It took me. I'm still learning everything, and I've been partnered up with Nils for about 4 or 5 years now, and I'm still learning something new every single day.
yeah.
And I've been heavily researching it, been very well immersed in it over these years, but still always learning something new. So
Well, but it changes so fast. Like I'm sure, like every time you learn something new, there's something new that you got to learn.
exactly,
It's like
exactly.
just completely changes on a regular basis.
Yeah, exactly. And my partner Nils, he's the one that really has to stay on top of that because like I said, he's the tech guy of the business. He has to make sure he's staying on top of all these ever changing technologies. Whereas I'm more sales and business dev oriented, so
Right.
he just fills me in when something comes in new. So
Yeah.
so kudos to him for keeping me updated.
Dude, I can't even like I'm just thinking about the wiring and like the stuff that you'd have to set up and like how you do all that stuff is just that shit is just fascinating to
Yeah,
me.
it's intensive for sure.
Because it's all low voltage stuff, right? It's
Yeah.
all low voltage wires.
Yeah, it's all, for the most part, it's all Ethernet, low volt cable, and then speaker wire.
Right.
So all low voltage.
Huh. Yeah, that's crazy,
And
man.
then we'll also work with the electrician on certain jobs. If we need to do some high voltage things, we'll work directly alongside them,
Right.
if need be. So
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to get power from somewhere.
exactly, yeah, exactly. So
Who's your like biggest like referral source or like customer? Is it architects and builders?
I would say architects and GCs.
GCs.
Just so we started all focusing on these trade partnerships since the summer, like since we got home from graduation and whatnot. And GCs have actually been the greatest referral source for us thus far. Haven't got a ton of work yet, but they have definitely given us the most referrals already. So architects and GCs are the biggest. And then we're also trying to creep our way in with interior designers as well.
Yeah, interior designers would be huge.
Totally. And it's funny, each one of them cares about a different aspect of what we do. So like for interior designers, they love like the motorized shades, anything that we do that makes a room look prettier. Whereas a GC, they care about like the one-stop shop aspect of things, like streamlining communications for them, just being a one point of contact that does all these different things instead of having like 3 different subs that they have to reach out to, fulfill whatever client wants. And then with an architect, it's, maintaining the integrity of the design of the home, like seamlessly integrating these things, because a lot of technology can stick out like a sore thumb.
Right.
So we work with them, just to seamlessly integrate these things, if you will. So
What's the hardest thing about what you guys are doing? Like, what is the most common barrier or hiccup that you have?
for me personally, it's forming the trade partnerships. It's such a long sales cycle. It can be anywhere from 6 months to 5 years where you get your first job with one of these partners.
Right.
So being able to focus on the long-term B2B aspect of things while also keeping yourself afloat with the shorter-term sales cycle jobs, the jobs that are quicker to get and easier to get, which tends to be direct to the consumer.
Right.
So it's hard to identify that split of focusing on how much long-term B2B work I should be doing and how much short-term B2C sales I should be doing to, give us that short-term cash flow, help keep us afloat, and invest that money for those long-term partnerships.
And thinking about like who I know and contractors and builders that I know, the hard part for them is going to be bringing that aspect in, because like you got to think that like if you're going to go and build a new house or do like this massive, addition or renovation or something, right?
Yep.
Contractors are thinking structural, they're thinking the framing, they're thinking sheetrock, they're thinking paint, they're thinking trim, they're thinking floors, they're thinking kitchen, they're, all these different things that they have to like schedule, they have to price, they have to do all these different things. So like you're giving them one more thing to consider at the end of during that process, right? And like most blue collar guys are old school, right? Like, so like trying to bring that into them to consider that, like I can just see being a difficult thing for them to grasp and be able to sell.
Like they think of us as a bottleneck more than anything because they don't necessarily understand it.
Right.
But the partnerships that have been effective thus far tends to be the ones that are more understanding and are also just younger too. Like the younger GCs have been the ones referring us jobs and whatnot and give me phone calls. So.
Yeah, because they're technology based, right?
Exactly.
Like the younger you are, the more technology you're kind of around.
Yeah, totally. They understand that this technology is, going to ever so slowly make its way into the home more and more over time. Humans always have a propensity to want to gain more value and utility out of their assets, and your home is your greatest asset in your life.
Right.
So why not try to make that as valuable and, gain as much utility as you possibly can out of it, which is what we offer. We help enhance that, help enhance everyday living for homeowners. So
yeah, that's tough. So I feel like getting your foot in the door, having general contractors consider you as another contractor is probably the hardest part.
Totally.
But I feel like once you get that one job with them and show them what you can do and kind of how you do it,
totally,
just turns into repetition from there.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah, you just need to, show proof of concept and proof of your work one time with them.
And then they're like, oh, this is fucking cool.
Exactly.
Like now I could do this. Maybe next time we do this.
Yeah, exactly.
But trying to open their minds up to that in the beginning has got to be tough.
Totally. Yeah, definitely. Even just, your everyday consumer too. Not a lot of people are used to this or really know about it. Like, for example, at my house, I have speakers like recessed into the wall in the bathroom. And when I show my buddies they're like, holy shit, this is so cool. And for me, it's just basic speakers in a bathroom. There's so much more to it. So, the proof is in the pudding. Once you see it, it's like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool.
Any thoughts of like a showroom or something?
It's funny you mentioned that. So had a good one-to-one with Teddy last week, and something he's trying to do with his showroom is make it, as locally focused as possible.
Yeah.
So he wants to bring in some artists, get some art on the walls and whatnot, and some other things. And something we're just starting to talk about is having some Stalgrid technology in there too. It's like getting him some motorized shades, setting up some speakers. We're going to do some lighting for the wall washes for the art that's going to be on the wall, things like that. So I think that's going to be our first step in the door in terms of getting a showroom, is partnering with him a little bit. Obviously, we'll install everything for free because, he's
going to be selling it.
Yeah, totally. So that's our first step. It's really, really important because there's no other better way to show someone or help them understand this than just showing them it. Right. So that's just in the talks right now. My partner and I are going to head out there soon, give him some ideas, see what he's cool with and whatnot. So I'm really excited for that, and could be a big opportunity. So
when I open the showroom in New Hampshire, we're definitely talking.
For sure, dude.
Because that'll be fucking cool.
It would. It help enhances your showroom for your for your clients too that you're bringing in there. So
yeah, and it's it's funny. So I worked for a furniture company. I guess I could say their fucking name, Jordan's Furniture, right? Huge furniture company.
Yep.
And they did a very good job at building that business. They sold to Warren Buffett. You know, when you build a business that's strong enough to catch the attention of someone like that, like you did it right.
Yeah,
You know
totally.
what I mean?
That's insinuating something right there. Yeah.
And Elliot used to always talk about the experience. You know, he used to say that like this isn't just a furniture store, this is an experience. And I feel like that's always been in the back of my head. Like you
Totally.
want people to come in and have an experience because you want them
100%.
to remember that. Like
100%.
if a customer's shopping for kitchen and bath design, right? And they go to 5 different kitchen and bath companies, they're all going to be the same,
Yep.
right? But if you can do something that's different, that catches their eye, that they remember, and
Helps
they remember that
differentiate you
experience.
by whatever means that is.
Exactly.
I'm huge on that too. You know, whatever helps differentiate. Like everybody can view people in our field as, you know, just a service or product provider. You can then differentiate yourself by providing a different experience. So yeah, you know, you got to take it to the next level somehow, and that's how we try to differentiate ourselves is on the experience with our clients, you know, walking them through everything, you know, literally just making them our friend and, you know, helping them understand what they're looking for in their home and their vision and making that come to life. So that's something we've been focused on a ton is, you know, creating as cool of an experience as we can for our clients.
Yeah, and if you could do that at a couple of different places, like say you got Teddy's shop, you got my showroom, you know, other like a contractor, you know, like Nobleport has this little wood shop.
Yeah.
And, you know, like
Mike, right?
Mike, yeah.
Stopped by there last week, actually.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah,
Well, I had him on the podcast. He's a good dude.
Oh, really? Yeah. Mike's awesome. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah. Yeah, we do kitchens for him. He's a good dude. I like working with him. Funny bastard. But,
Yeah, he is. He is.
You know what's funny is he's wicked funny. And like when you're shooting the shit with him and stuff, talking to him, when he was on the podcast, he was like dead serious.
Really?
Yeah. He was like, you know, talking to you know. I was like, what the fuck happened?
That's funny.
Yeah. But yeah, if you could do that, you know what's cool about that, right? So you offer, you know, the product and the services to like different showrooms or different places that could sell your product. And then you make some fucking good social media, digital media content stuff with that. You don't even have to worry about having a showroom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
You're like, oh, you want to see those integrated speakers? Like go to Seacoast. You want to see those lines? Like take a walk over to, go check out Teddy's shop.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And then it's like, it's twofold, right? You're sending people to the showrooms to like see the product that you're selling.
And your product as well.
Your product as well.
It's a win-win if you ask me.
And then you don't even have to have like your own showroom. You
Yeah.
can just have your product in a couple of different places, have a couple of different parts. I love that.
Totally. Yeah, we would love to have our own at some point.
Yeah.
But you know, just for the sake of where we are in the stage of business, that makes more sense.
Yeah, it'd be a great place to start.
Yeah, it's a win-win too, like you said. You know, helps us out, helps you out. So
Yeah, I love that.
totally.
Interesting.
I'm excited to see where that goes. So.
Yeah. What about, do you guys do anything, and I haven't checked out much of your social media, like any kind of content for like social media showing the stuff that you guys do? And
Yeah, just our iPhone and the camera on it. That's
Oh, no
it.
shit.
We need to step it up a little bit more.
I know a guy.
Yeah. But that's something we definitely want to focus on more. And you know, like I
Don't
said,
fuck around.
I see you pressing buttons over there.
Just had to do it one time. That's it.
John's been fucking with me all day with these voice changeovers.
I've been waiting months for that. Okay, that's it. I'm done.
For a while, my mic wouldn't do the voice changes, and now I feel like he changed mics just so he can fuck with
Yeah.
me because he's been wanting to for the past 6 months.
you're gonna
So,
abuse that power now.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
I didn't have the camera on you. You distracted me. So it's Robbie the whole time.
That's all right. It's all right. We want him. We want them to focus on him, anyways. They're just gonna hear my weird ass voice in the background now. Fuck. Now I lost. See, now I lost
my
track.
train of
It's
thought
fucked
too.
up.
Yeah, the printout right there.
Oh, right. Yeah. Because I always look at the fucking printout. John gives me a cool little printout.
This is your
and,
first time looking at it.
Yeah. You know what's cool is that so you get the questions for those that haven't been on the podcast. Like we ask a bunch of questions. Not even a bunch, it's like 3, right? 3 or 4.
I think it's like 5.
5?
So it's not a lot.
So there's like an onboarding process for the podcast. We ask 5 questions, and then whoever the guest is answers the questions, and then John uses fucking Mr. AI over here to like generate like the whole episode on like stuff we should talk about and like the introductions and the tie-ins. I don't use it as far as like script goes, but it's awesome for like when I before the
Totally,
podcast. Like I
yeah.
just kind of breezed through it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's a cool thing. Like,
Yeah.
and actually, if I followed this thing word for word, it actually be pretty dope.
Yeah.
But I told you earlier, like when I comes to like scripts and shit, I can't fucking remember them and read them, and like I hate it.
I can't either, dude. I'm
Yeah.
all about the organics, just being natural and seeing where, just going with the wind and seeing wherever the conversation goes.
Yeah.
I'm huge on that.
And that's
so.
like the premise of the podcast. But it
Yeah.
is cool to like see some of the stuff that's
Yeah.
like here. And like this thing, and I'm sure John has it set up so that it's like probably like best for like what people are searching and what they're listening to and all the tech
Totally.
weird shit
Yeah.
that John does.
Yeah.
He's really good at, and I love him for. It's fucked up,
That's
man.
good.
Going off the rails here quick. So showrooms and stuff,
Yeah.
digital content,
Yeah.
social media content.
Definitely need to pick that up a bit.
I feel like that because like, dude, people need visual shit,
I know.
especially when you're talking about stuff that they don't know about.
I know. It's
You know?
such a new, innovative industry. No one really knows what we're talking about at
Right.
all. It's
And like you guys, like and I don't know, I'm not like. I wouldn't say I'm at the head of like tech stuff. I don't know what the fuck is going on technology wise, but I know what's going on in the industry.
Yep.
So like, and I don't know a lot of people that are doing what you guys are doing.
Mm-hmm.
There's this one company that they're an AV company. What is AV? Audio visual.
Audio visual or audio video, same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I actually built when I had my custom wood shop, I built a conference table for them.
Oh, cool.
And they, this was, Jesus, probably 10, 12 years ago. And they were doing it back then.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was slammed. He had a bunch of work doing just audio visual
Yeah,
stuff.
totally.
And I ran into him at, what the hell was it? I think it was a North Shore Home Magazine event.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, Sean? Like, I hadn't seen the guy in years after I built the table. Like,
Yeah,
never
yeah.
heard from the guy again,
Yeah.
And it was cool to see him, like, and he was at. And I wonder if, I assume they're probably doing that same kind of stuff.
What's his business name? Do you know?
It's called Creative
Oh.
AV. I wasn't going to throw it out there because, like,
creative
this-
with a K, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They do good work.
Yeah.
They're out of Malden or
Malden,
something.
yeah, or Melrose or something like that.
Somewhere over there. They won an award at Best of North Shore, right?
Probably, yeah.
I think they got the best AV guy or whatever.
Yeah, and I honestly, I think that's what I think it was the Bonds event that
Yeah.
we were at that we seen him at.
Yeah, exactly.
But like that's you and him are the only people I know or have ever seen that like
Yeah.
do that type of stuff.
It's a pretty far-fetched industry right now. There's not many guys doing it, especially in the Newburyport area. There's,
Right. Well, Newburyport's tough with that stuff
I know.
because it's a very older demographic.
Totally.
But at the end of the day, there are it's ever changing.
Totally,
Right? Like it's
yeah.
always changing. Are you part of the chamber for Newburyport?
Yeah.
So you know Nate?
Yeah, I just met with him before this actually.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
You tell him you're coming on?
I should have because I literally watched his episode just the other day.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
That's funny.
He's a great guy though.
He's a
Love-
good dude.
Love Nate.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
It's funny, and that's what I love about the podcast is like getting to know people. Like I've known Nate for a few years, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
never really like sat down and shot the shit with him, and like
Sure.
got to know him pretty good
Yeah,
on the podcast. It's
Totally.
pretty funny.
Yeah, he's a great dude though. I love him.
Yeah, I love how like he's passionate about helping small businesses in the
Totally.
community and shit.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
It's cool.
And I'm helping him start a young professionals group.
Oh, sweet.
With the chamber.
I love that.
There isn't really anything catered towards the younger crowd.
Yeah.
And just from talking with my friends and hearing other people, young professionals, if you will, they want something like that. An
Yeah.
opportunity to network and whatnot.
Oh, it's
but
badass.
it's just predominantly an older crowd right now.
Yeah.
So that can be intimidating if you don't have any sort of networking experience. Putting yourself out there, it's intimidating for a lot of people. So
Yeah.
trying to create some sort of environment, some sort of group that caters towards that type of audience. So
I love that.
Yeah.
What's the age cutoff? And I swear to God, you answer this wrong, I'm gonna punch you in the face. Just joking. Just joking.
we haven't really gone down like too nitty gritty yet,
Okay.
but we're thinking like 18 to 25, like /27-ish age.
Damn, fucking toddlers.
Yeah,
It's a toddlers group.
yeah. I haven't gone too nitty gritty with the
Yeah.
details yet, but mostly just in the ideation phase right now. So
Yeah, I
just
love
figuring
that.
it out.
I think that's a great idea, man.
Totally.
So that's the big thing I feel like with the younger groups is that like especially business professionals, the technology and the way that schools were for fucking during COVID and all that
Mhm.
other shit, like
Yep.
you know, that human interaction is like dwindling, and like and I feel like the younger people are, the more uncomfortable they are in those situations. But
100%.
the biggest thing with that stuff, and I can't preach it enough, is that if it makes you uncomfortable, do it more.
I love,
You know what I mean?
I love being uncomfortable,
Yeah.
man. Pushes you to your limits.
Exactly.
Depending on what it is, but whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So
Yeah, for sure.
Just make yourself uncomfortable. Be
Yeah.
comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I mean, and you can preach that, man. Like you're 25, right?
23.
23. Jesus. So 23, you're in my business networking group, BNI. BNI in Newburyport is one of the largest chapters in Mass and Northeast.
Yeah. I'm the youngest kid in there by far. By a decade at least.
And you're in there fucking networking with a bunch of old people, and like, you know, hats off to you, man.
Thank
you.
you.
Takes balls to do it.
Thank
and
you.
Like,
Appreciate
you
that.
know, it's I love that shit.
But yeah, that, you know, people, like dealing with people, talking with people, I think that's truly my forte. And I love interacting with humans and learning from them, learning how I can help them and whatnot. So just something that, you know, I'm organically blessed with.
Yeah.
So, especially being able to, you know, converse with an older audience. You learn how to do it, but I love it. It made me uncomfortable at first, but you know, like you learn a lot. A lot.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, the more you can push yourself to be uncomfortable and stuff, like, it just, again, it's like anything else. If it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. Like, when you're uncomfortable and you go into these things or doing these certain events or whatever it is, like, you're always uncomfortable.
Totally.
It always, I mean, it never changes.
Yeah.
But, like, the more you do it, the more comfortable that you get with it and the better you get at it.
Totally.
You know? And,
100%.
like, people that shy away from shit like that because, like, you know, they're uncomfortable, I don't know, it just always bothers me.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
I'm 100% on the same page as you. You're never going to grow or develop as a person if you just always stick to what's comfortable for you. You know, every human has an inclination to stick with doing whatever makes them comfortable.
Yeah.
But, you know, you just got to realize you got to go against that sometimes if you want to grow and, you know, do better things, whether it's for your business, yourself, whatever it may be. So just got to put yourself out there.
Yeah. I feel like, you know, sometimes, man, all it takes is balls.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't even have to have knowledge or wisdom or anything. Sometimes all it takes is balls.
Just be a decent person, and, you know, show that you're competent and kind and caring towards people, and other people are going to respect that.
Yep.
You know, you just can't overthink it and think everything's going to go terribly wrong if you put yourself out there.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what a lot of people in my generation think.
Yeah.
Like, it's like a social anxiety side of things for it. But yeah, just got to put yourself out there. It's truly important.
We all have social anxiety, man.
Everybody.
Nobody's comfortable in a room.
Everybody does.
Or speaking in front of a camera or speaking in front of crowds. Like, nobody's comfortable doing that shit.
Totally not. Not at all.
I remember I got invited to be a keynote speaker at a high school graduation once. Now, mind you, I got expelled from high school.
It's pretty ironic, huh?
A little strange, you know, and there was like 300 people or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, what the fuck am I doing? And like, you get that devil on your shoulder that's like, bro, you got expelled from high school. You didn't do good in school ever. Like, it was never important to you.
Yeah.
And now you're going to be a keynote speaker at a high school. Like, you haven't earned this. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And like, you know, it's like everybody has that inner dialogue that like tries to like talk you down.
100%,
you know?
man.
And I've always just been like, I literally say it almost every time when we start the podcast or any of that stuff. It's always just like, you know, you're listening to that voice, and then I just go, fuck it.
Yeah, right, dude.
That's my famous 2 words before I do anything that makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah,
fuck
right.
it.
Right.
You
What's
know?
the worst that can go wrong?
Right. Whatever.
You forget about it in a few months' time anyway,
Right.
so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. So one of the things I want to talk to you about is on the intake sheet, you had said one of your quotes that you love is that life is 10% of what happens to you, 90% of how you react to it.
Yeah.
I love that, man.
Thank
I
you.
think that there's a lot of truth in that. What kind of brought that up?
Yeah, so this is more so derived from a personal experience of mine. I'll give you the whole rundown. So about 4 or 5 years ago, literally in the peak of COVID, I was suffering from, I guess you can call it a condition. It's called a spontaneous pneumothorax. And it is when your lung spontaneously collapses out of nowhere with no cause. And this was happening to me over and over and over and over again. I think my lungs collapsed 4 or 5 times in total. And
Just out of the blue?
yeah, out of the blue, no catalyst or anything, no, cause. It's just happens. Hence the name spontaneous,
How fast does it happen?
like that. Feel like 1 second you're breathing normal, the next second you take a breath and it feels like someone's stabbing you in the chest and twisting the blade around. It's pretty painful.
What the fuck? I
Yeah.
never heard of that,
Yeah,
dude.
it's painful.
So
but
then
they
you'd
say
have to go to the hospital?
Yep, yeah, and they say it typically happens in tall, young, skinny males. And I was a tall, young, skinny male then, so I guess I fit the avatar for that. But at any rate, so
What causes it? Sorry,
they
man,
don't
that's
know.
crazy.
Yeah, they
What?
don't know.
They
It's
don't know?
just spontaneous.
That
There's
is
these-
insane.
There's these little things called blebs on your lungs. They're like little air pockets, and sometimes they can burst. And when they burst, that air gets in between your lung and the lining of the lung, thus like compressing on the lung itself, if that makes sense.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And they don't know what causes the bleb to do
Yeah,
that?
exactly. They don't know what causes it to burst, but they know that's what is causing the lung to collapse. But they don't know why the bleb burst. I guess that's my knowledge on it.
Yeah,
But
and it just happened out of nowhere. Like you weren't fucking running or something?
no, I was first time it happened. I think I was eating cereal at the table.
Cereal did it. What kind of cereal?
Stay far away from Special K. It just happened out of nowhere. I know the first time I was actually driving on the highway with my sister. I was in the passenger seat, thankfully.
God.
And out of nowhere, I just got wicked nauseous and started puking on the side of the highway. And then just went to the hospital after that, and they diagnosed it at that. And then the second time was when I was eating cereal, which was wicked random.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. But
No shit.
then
And no, like, so before that, how old were you? First time.
18?
So nothing happened like before then?
No.
Never had any issues before. All of a
No.
sudden
Yeah,
spontaneous
just
fucking
Right out
pneumo-
of the blue.
What do you call it? Spontaneous what?
Spontaneous pneumothorax. That's the
Pneumothorax.
medical term for it.
No shit.
Yeah. But so at any rate, this happened in the peak of COVID. We're in the middle of a novel respiratory disease.
Jesus.
And I am in the hospital by my 18-year-old self, in the midst of this pandemic of a disease that we don't really know much about. And during this time, they're not allowing any visitors as well. So none of my family or anyone could come see me. I was a lone soldier in that hospital bed. I think I was in there for a week and a half.
Did they
the
think
first
it was
time.
because of COVID at first?
No, they knew exactly what it was. They knew it was a pneumothorax.
No shit.
So yeah, they identified it pretty easily. But yeah, so I was in this hospital bed by myself for days on end, and this kind of leads me to my quote of, life is 10% what happens to you and 90%, what you make of it. Is I could have, took this whole experience and thought of myself as a victim of the universe and what it had coming for me, just not be resilient about it. Or I could use this bad experience and think of it as, a building block for my own personal development. If I can go through this and endure this experience, it's going to make me a stronger, better, more resilient person for the future and the things I'm going to go through later in life. So that's the route I decided to go down instead of being a victim of what happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
In the shittiest of times, you got to maintain that positive mindset, and I would say that was a pretty shitty experience.
Yeah, for sure.
You got to see the light at the end of the tunnel and try to make something positive out of something so terrible that can happen to you. And that's exactly what I tried to do. Just be stoic about it, be resilient. Realize it's only temporary. It's going to make me stronger for the future and whatever I go through, later in life.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that whole like victim disease that people have is so far beyond me. I don't get it.
Me too. I don't get it.
Yeah,
It
and I feel
makes
like
you weak.
and the most successful people that I know, anybody that is successful does not have that mentality.
Totally.
If you have that mentality, you will not be successful.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Totally.
You know?
Like you can still have bad days. You can be in a shitty mood here and there, but don't let it get to you 24/7.
For sure.
You got to bounce back from some things and
Yep.
realize life could always be worse.
Yeah.
Like when I find myself bitching and complaining about something so minor, it's like, but wait, I'm not bedridden in a hospital right now.
Right.
I'm healthy. I have all my family, my friends. Like, life is pretty good right now.
Yeah.
And that in itself just lifts me up if I'm having a bad day or something, you know.
For sure.
Gotta realize how fortunate we are, and that is incredibly important with entrepreneurship too. And running your own business is not every day. You know, it's not a linear process at all. It's
Right.
lots of ups and downs with peaks and troughs, and
Yeah.
you know, you got to maintain that mindset of being positive and remember why you're doing this at the end of the day. And just be
Yeah.
resilient, strong, and, you know, remember why you started your business in the first place, you know, to work
Yeah.
for yourself, have agency over your life, provide opportunities for others, whatever it may be. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it's important, man. I mean, you know, I think that, you know, a little bit about my story. Like,
Totally.
I was supposed to be dead or in jail by 18.
Mhm.
Like, that was my trajectory of life,
Yeah.
you know, and I had peers that told me that. And, you know, a lot of people I grew up with aren't around anymore, man. Like,
Mhm.
you know, I've buried a lot of people.
Mhm.
And, you know, I had every opportunity that everybody else had,
Mhm.
you know, and I went through a lot of things, and I've seen a lot of things and experienced a lot of shit that would
Mhm.
break a lot of people.
Totally.
And, you know, at the end of the day, it's you either use that shit and all those terrible experiences
Mhm.
as an excuse,
Mhm.
or you use it as fuel.
Exactly.
You know?
That's how I want to sum up exactly
Yeah.
what I was just saying. It's either excuse or fuel for
That's it.
yourself.
You know, and that's it. Nobody is handed fucking perfect cards
Nope.
off the bat. Nobody, not
Nope.
one person.
Nope.
You know, everybody deals with their own shit, and everybody goes through their own bad experiences.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you either learn from them and use it as an opportunity to grow, or you play victim to them.
Totally.
You know, and the
Totally.
longer you play victim to them, the longer you're gonna stay down.
Mhm.
You know, and
Yeah.
that's it, man. You know, and I think it's important. Like, you know, I try not to. So I lived in my past for a long time, right? Like, people talk about like survivor's guilt,
Sure.
like World War II veterans and
Yeah.
that type of stuff. People
Yeah.
coming from overseas.
Is that how you felt? Like
Sometimes,
losing some of your
yeah,
buddies.
you know, there was, you know, my job, and you know, in my group, you know, I was always like the guy that they called if there was going to be a fight, or like, you know, there's stuff going down.
Yeah.
Like, I was the crazy one, right? Like, I was the one that was down for whatever.
Crazy Frank.
Crazy Frankie, you know, and you know, and then those people start dying, and
Yeah.
you feel like maybe I didn't do my job good enough,
Yeah.
you know, and then
Yeah.
everybody around me started fucking dying, and you know, just going down the wrong path, and then all of a sudden, like, I make it out, right, and I have these two fucking awesome kids,
Yeah.
you know, and I have this great life, and like I have my own business, and I'm
Yeah.
doing all these great things,
Yeah.
and everybody else is gone,
Totally,
you know,
yeah.
and it's like you feel like, fuck, man, why I should have went down with the ship,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I lived in the past for a long time, and it was hard to get out of that, dude. And
What made you overcome that? And even before that, what helped you persevere through those terrible times that you went through in
you
that
know,
childhood? Like, what made you want to keep going and change things around?
I mean, there was a lot of things. I think that, you know, obviously the boys being born,
Yeah.
like I was 18 or 19 when we got pregnant with Tyler, like I was still young when that happened. And, you know, I made a decision at that point that I was going to be a better man and a better father than what I knew that to be, you know, and that definitely changed things for me. And then giving back, dude, like, you know, running the woodworking program that I used to run with at-risk youth and
Yeah.
people in recovery, you know, giving back helped me to kind of see that, like, you know, all these experiences, all these things that I've been through was just giving me more tools to be able to make a good positive impact.
Totally.
You know, both on the boys,
Yeah.
both, you know, family, friends, and, you know, strangers, you know. So I think that really kind of helped push me out of it. And it took a lot of time, man. You know, the mountains, dude, hiking,
Yeah.
you know, self-reflection,
Yeah.
being in the woods, taking up meditation, kind of working on my spirituality,
Yeah.
that kind of health, like that was all really important, you know, to kind of help me get out,
Totally.
you know. But it's one of those things, like, you can't live in that place, right? You can't live with the regrets and the remorse and being the victim,
Totally.
but it's good to reflect on those things, and
Absolutely.
to remember those things and be like, that's where I started. You know, I try not to live there for long. So
Totally.
like birthdays, holidays, Sundays are my day. I remember, you know,
Totally.
those are my memory days.
Yep.
You know, like take my foot off the gas for a little bit. Remember where I came from, where I started,
Yeah.
how it all began, remember it.
Totally.
But then don't live there.
Totally.
Next day, foot back to the gas. Let's go.
Make
Getting
those
after
good
it.
things your memories and the bad things your experiences.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it, man. And I feel like that's super important, both in personal life and in business.
Totally.
You know, I've been through some shit in business too. I'm going through shit in business.
Being a business owner is so emotionally straining. It's
tough.
crazy.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, we're much smaller businesses, so we're wearing multiple hats.
Right.
We got to know how to do a lot of different things. Like
Yeah.
I have to know how to do sales. I have to know how to network. I have to be able to talk to a random 50-year-old, 60-year-old, someone twice, 3 times my age. I have to know how to do the tech side of things a little bit when I'm doing installs with Nils. You know, got to wear multiple hats and, you know, learn a lot. And also how to deal with, you know, slower times of business. That's a tough thing too, when it feels like, you know, you're not making progress, even though it's just a normal cycle of business. It's tough dealing with that.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, partnerships.
Yeah.
Like that's a tough road to navigate, man.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you know, things go good for a while. Sometimes they don't go good forever.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
that's what I'm dealing with.
Totally.
You know, and it's like you know, there's a lot of bullshit and a lot of people, you know, rely on you. You know, employees rely on you to bring the business in, and
Totally.
they're using your business to feed their families and to buy the house and to buy the car.
Totally.
And like,
You're providing a livelihood for
right.
them.
And there's a lot of pressure,
Yeah.
you know, and then it's funny because like it just goes, the road goes in so many different directions and you never know.
Totally.
You know, it's funny because 10 years ago, I swore I would never install other people's cabinets.
Yeah.
You know, like I was so against it, dude. I was like, I can build cabinets. I'm not installing these other cabinets. Like, fuck that.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I literally have a kitchen and bath design company. I don't build anything anymore. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like,
totally,
you
dude.
just never know what direction it's going to go in.
100%.
You know?
Such a non-linear thing. It's,
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's like going to the gym. Like, you know, you have a lot of progress for a while, then you plateau. You
yeah.
might even decline for a bit, and then you go right up again.
Yeah.
It's same exact concept with your business. Plateaus,
Well, it's anything
peaks.
that's hard, right?
Yeah, 100%.
You know?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, man. Yeah, I saw that quote and I was like, yeah, that's cool. We got to touch on that.
Totally.
As far as I guess everything else goes, man. Anything else that you want to touch on before we get into toolbox tips?
Not really. You know, just be resilient, be stoic.
Yeah.
Try to teach and help other people learn from your own experiences. That's something you've done
Yeah.
a great job with. Like when you first shared your life experience in BNI, not gonna lie, I almost cried, dude. I almost freaking cried. I'm not a crier by any means.
I've jerked some tears with the story.
Oh yeah, you watered up my eyes for sure. You watered up my eyes, but
Yeah,
I
man.
viewed it as, you know, a really beautiful and emotionally resilient experience that you shared.
Yeah.
You know, I'm inspired by that same thing. Try to you know, inspire others from my experiences too.
Yeah.
So, you know, just be emotionally resilient, fight back, and life's hard, but you got to work harder. So
Yeah, man. Yeah, and that's, you know, and that's why I share the story. I think that, you know, inspiring change is one of my purposes here. At a low point, man, like I was going to take my own life. And I came across this article about finding purpose and how we all have a purpose. And everything that we go through in life is made to give us the tools to pursue that purpose. You know, and finding that article, I was like, that's when, you know, that was one of the turning points in life where I was like, damn, I went through this shit. I'm still alive.
Yeah.
Like I'm still doing some shit. Like
Yeah.
I'm doing all right. Like I can share these experiences with people and I can inspire people that are in the same place to do the same thing. You know, and then I actually had a spiritual reading like 2 or 3 years ago, and the topic of conversation was a lot around like we get to, when we come into this life, right, where we get to kind of pick the road that we want to go down. And that road is our purpose, right? And it was funny because like this woman didn't really know me at all. And she talked about the fact that I chose the road that I'm on and all the hardships to go through so that I could use those tools to inspire other people. And this was like something that I already determined on my own life, you know, and it was cool to hear it like on a spiritual side that like, this is what I chose, all the hardship, all the shit I've been through. Like I chose to go through all of that.
Yeah.
So, and I did that in service to others. You know?
Totally.
And it was cool to hear like on the spiritual side of things, not just in like my personal life side of things, you know, it was cool.
Totally.
But not to get too fucking creepy on anybody, you know. the spiritual side of things is cool, man. I got into it a while back, and I fucking love it.
You mentioned that with hiking briefly when we
Yeah.
had breakfast the other day. What type of like spiritual things did you experience with that?
Dude, a ton, man. You know, I don't believe in God, right? Like, I don't believe in the Jesus or Buddha or any
sure.
of that stuff, right?
Sure.
But in what I've experienced in life, there's definitely like a greater power than me.
I
Right?
agree.
There's forces at work that I don't have a name to me.
Mhm.
Like, it's, you know, not
It's just,
Jesus.
it's just there.
It's not baby Jesus.
Yeah,
You know,
no.
it's just there.
Yeah.
And you know, in a low point in my life when I started hiking, like I was drinking a lot. And
Mm-hmm.
my first hike that I did, like I woke up on a trailhead, hungover, sleeping in my truck, you know, and I started hiking. And I was in jeans and a work boot in the middle of the winter, like in a hoodie. Like I had no idea what I was doing.
Was
No
this,
backpack.
is this the story when you were drinking all day with your brother the day before?
Yeah, well,
and
that
then
was part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was after I already got started, but same idea.
Yeah, okay,
you know?
gotcha.
And,
Yeah.
and I don't know, man, just being up there and like the sound of the mountains and that silence and like, it's like everything else.
Mhm.
Like you work your ass off to get to the top of this thing, and then the payoff, you don't even know what the payoff is going to be.
Totally.
Sometimes you get to the top of a mountain thinking there's going to be this awesome view in the sunset or sunrise, and it's completely socked in.
Mhm.
And you just climbed 4,000 feet to
Yeah.
fucking sit in the clouds.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and it's like you have to pivot. You have to still be able to appreciate the socked in days.
Yeah.
Just as much as you appreciate the days that are crystal clear.
Totally,
You know,
yeah.
and like you work your ass off, you get to the top, and like, you know, the payoff isn't, you know, not money in my pocket. It's not like, and it's just like this achievement, you know, and it's almost instant gratification or somewhat instant gratification. And then just being out there by myself and like combating against the elements, and like you never know what's going to happen in the mountains with weather. Thunderstorms roll in, snowstorms roll in,
Totally.
cold air. Like there's so many things that you have no control over.
Totally.
You know, only thing you have control over is every step.
Yep.
Like, you know,
100%.
and it's like you go up there by yourself, and, you know, I camp out up there by myself, and like, you're always worried about like what's going to roll up on me in the middle of the night. Like,
Totally.
what's that
Yeah,
sound, you
yeah.
know, but you have no control over it,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and I just learned that like giving up that control, and giving up that control and doing the hiking and all that stuff, I just found a connection with whatever that power is.
Totally.
You know, and
Totally.
you know, it's super important to me, you know, and I pray almost every day. And I have a prayer that I say at every mountaintop, at every
Yeah.
achievement that I do, every good experience that I have a prayer that I say.
Totally.
And again, you know, it's not to God, it's not to baby Jesus, it's just
So,
whatever is out
Yeah,
there, dude.
I have
You
a
know?
same exact thought in my mind too. That's my same thought process, is that there is something greater at work. I don't think it's a traditional sense of religion. I don't believe in that by any means, but there is something. And you know, to what you were just saying, you know, being in nature is just you, your thoughts, and Mother Nature, and there is
Yep.
nothing more raw and personally enjoyable for me.
Yeah.
You know, just peaceful and respite being out there, and you know, not to get too hippy dippy, but just being one with nature.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a raw thing. It brings out raw emotions and
Yep,
makes you feel human.
for sure.
Totally.
Yeah, yeah, and that was. I think that it's having that connection is important for me, anyways. And I feel like anybody that's been through a lot of shit or like has tasted death in any way, shape, or form, like tends to have that kind of same outlook.
Totally.
You know?
100%.
We had Candace on last week, and she, you know, had cancer and like beat cancer, and now is like super spiritual, and like, you know, it's funny how you find those people who've had these experiences and then kind of feel the same way that you do without really, you know, we don't have a book. There's no
Yeah.
whatever's out there Bible.
Yeah,
You know,
totally. Like you just vibe with them. You know,
Yeah.
it's just something you feel.
Connection.
Yeah, connection, man.
Yeah.
Connection.
it's a real thing for sure.
100% is 100%.
Oh yeah. All right. Toolbox tips.
Sure.
Before we get into it, if you're watching the podcast, you like it, getting anything of it, you like Robbie over here.
Robbie.
Robbie. Like, subscribe, share this stuff with your friends, trying to get the word out there, trying to bring as much information as possible to anybody that's listening. So appreciate the support from everybody. We have gotten a ton of subscribers. John just told me that we hit 16,000 views or something on YouTube. I don't know if that's good or bad, but sounds like a cool number, so I'm putting it out there. Appreciate all the support and everybody that's listening. Please continue to like and share. Toolbox tips, brother.
Sure.
So practical advice you'd give to yourself. Well, I can't say 20 years ago because you were fucking
I'd be 3 years old
toddler.
then, yeah.
You know,
3-year-old
but-
me wouldn't listen to that.
even just like, in the path that you've been on, going to school, doing what you're doing now, practical advice you give to anybody that's looking to kind of do the same thing.
I would say patience and consistency is the biggest thing with your career. Of course, it's going to take time and trial and error to figure out what you actually want to pursue and stay consistent with. But that's something I wish I focused on more. Of course, hindsight's 20/20. But so like throughout the 4 years, I did a bunch of like internships and stuff, things that just completely deviated from Stalgrid and focusing on that. I guess it's just because I want to explore things a little bit, figure out what I do and don't like. But I've always known that I love technology and working for myself. So had I, if I could give me 5 years ago advice, I'd say stick with one thing, build on it, realize, nothing is a get rich scheme or, wealth doesn't happen overnight, nor does a career build overnight. You gotta, be really consistent and patient with things. Like I was expecting to get, massive new construction jobs out of nowhere just like that, but it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that at all. You gotta be consistent, with building. If you're in the ownership position, you got to be consistent with building partnerships, getting your name out there, networking, just getting your name out there and being patient. And if you're a good person and, try to help others, what goes around comes around. So
Agreed.
that's my biggest 2 cents I'd give to myself
Yeah.
5-6 years ago at the beginning of my career launch is, don't try to do as many things as you possibly can. Pick 1 or 2 things and, just stay focused on that and build on that because you're selling yourself thin if you want to do all these other things.
For sure.
Because it's just so focused on, building my resume, making it look good, have all these experiences, but, not having a, one track that you're following, it kind of sells yourself thin. On the bright side, I'm a generalist with my set of knowledge. I know a lot because I've had a lot of different positions and been in a lot of different industries. So that's the bright side. But I wish I had stayed more consistent with Stalgrid all 5 years from when I started and, would be in a totally different position now.
Yeah.
But hindsight's 20/20, man.
Yeah.
So,
And sometimes you got to do that shit. Like you're young. So like sometimes you got to just,
yeah.
you got to kind of screw off a little bit, try some other things, test the water to know what it is that you actually want to do and what you want to pursue.
Yeah.
But I feel like consistency is so underrated.
So-
Everybody gets the ideas. Everybody, is like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try this. And, very few people stick with it,
Totally.
And like, but I think consistency is the most underrated, attribute to any kind of entrepreneur or character trait for anybody like in the job force.
Totally.
Everybody wants instant gratification and it just doesn't happen.
No.
you know?
God, no.
And I feel like it gets worse and worse. And I notice it with employees. Like,
Yeah.
People get on and they have these great intentions to like, do this job and be great at it and all this stuff.
Totally.
And they're great at it for like a year, maybe 2 years. And then it's like, they're not climbing the ladder fast enough. And it's
Totally.
like, gotta do something else now.
Yep, totally.
When if you just stay consistent with it, the proof is in the pudding.
Totally.
If you stay consistent with it, you'll get there.
Totally.
But like if you change jobs and do something different now,
Yep.
like, you're just setting yourself up for failure until you
Exactly.
stay consistent with something.
You're selling yourself thin, and
Yeah.
there's a sunk cost with everything you devoted towards what you were doing.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if everything you just did and you switch it up. None of that progress matters anymore.
Right.
And patience goes directly hand in hand with that consistency.
For sure.
If you're not seeing the fruits of your labor right away, you got to realize it's a time game. You got to be patient and wait for things to pan out.
Yeah.
If you're doing the right thing, things will unfold and in a good way. And,
Yeah.
just got to be patient with that. It's just so tough to do.
For sure.
Especially being a small business owner. I'm sure you've experienced it. Like when you're first starting, things are really slow.
Yeah.
You just got to be patient, consistent with whatever sales means it is to get those jobs. You just got to be super patient with it.
Yep.
That's what I give myself advice on
Hell yeah.
4 or 5 years ago. So
I love that.
being patient and consistent.
I like that. 2 big words, I think.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, man. That about wraps it up.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
It's cool getting to know a little bit about the business and stuff. And I have a couple of people in mind that I'd love to introduce you to that I think would be good fits for you.
Awesome.
But trying to sell them on what you do, that's the hard part.
Yeah. Totally.
Without some kind of visual, touchy, feely type of thing.
I know. We need to get there, get that showroom up and going right away.
What do you have any goals set? Like written down goals, like 1 year I want to have this, 3 years I want to have this.
I do more so short term.
Yeah.
Because we're really focused on the short term growth right now.
Yep.
But those goals are get 3 new construction projects by the end of the year. Whatever size they are, doesn't matter. Just as long as we get ourselves in 3 new construction projects and also form 5 solid trade relationships as well.
I love
like trade partner relationships. So those are the goals for a year.
It's good. Do you have them written down?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I have them written in my journal.
I love that.
At home. So.
Dude, there's nothing more gratifying than making those lists and like crossing shit out.
Totally.
It
feels so good.
I have a notebook somewhere that's like when I first started my woodworking business, 2012. I wrote down like my short, mid, long-term goals.
Yeah.
And like every now and then I'll find that book. It's just like a notebook, like a single subject notebook.
Yeah.
And I'll find it and I'll be like, oh shit. And I'll like open it up and be like, oh shit, I did that. I cross it off.
Totally.
Completely forgot about it.
Yeah.
But like, I did it.
Totally.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
totally.
cool.
Yeah, I definitely want to get some more long-term ones going, like 5 years out and look back on it in 5 years and be like, that same exact thing. Like, oh shit, that's cool. I can cross that out.
Cross that out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah, it's cool. Hell yeah, man.
Totally.
All right, cool. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Yeah, thank you for having me.